to be here and talk to you about this. Just out of margins of reality, dude. First off, I'm sorry if I look like shit or if I start breathing through my mouth randomly. I just got my expressions smacked down by a random ass virus out of nowhere, and not to mention this is the 4th fucking time over the course of 5 months. Like, the capital over here is an absolute catastrophic and filthy. Alright, let me straight up just say that I used to have wet dreams about this moment. Yeah, that's how implausible and unforeseen all of this is for me. The whim to even start this 4 years ago and end up beating it in 3 days after coming back to it like from a long break is like actual Freddy Fazbear jump scare from dark closed cabinet at midnight, bro. The backstory to this holds quite the prestige, whether infamous or not. It is something to acknowledge and not just to neglect like this is some random ass completion video of my channel. So allow me to take you on a trip down memory lane. There's a lot of embarrassing moments to cover, but as you might know, I'm no coward, and as much as my solid past and the topic of me cheating in this game is ridiculous and overtly comical, from the way I orchestrated things to what the outcomes brought, I seem to take it this way, and I hope that doesn't come across as weird to you. Even I'm aware that this is fucked up and wrong. Lying to this extent is just most obnoxious and narcissistic thing ever to do as a person, not just in this game, but also in general. And I've changed, which is the whole premise of this and the symbol of this video. And I'm simply doing this to inspire others who may be in need. So don't get the expression that I take this as some kind of joke, even if I find it funny, which have clear distinctions. Alright, so it's 2017. And my friends just discovered this game called Geometry Dash and introduced me to it. Spoiler alert, little did they know I've had actually played the game for 2 years on and off prior, and was acting like I never knew the existence of it. And very soon they progressed pretty far through into the main top levels. Like, at one point, one of them had, actually 2 of them had reached Can't Let Go in about weeks. While I'm fixated in shock with my 2 years of playing this game and having electrodynamics as a hardest only. And like, I'm not gonna lie, probably like a couple thousand attempts. And that's a lot for electrodynamics too. This was the time when I had a Lenovo tablet with like 500 millisecond delay. I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. Which also sometimes decided to freeze my inputs for a couple of seconds. So like occasionally I had instances like these happen.
Blog episode 1. If you want this series, comment down below. So I'm lagging and I fall off.
Like, while there's no explanation as to what caused that to happen, I'm just still curious to this day, and me and my friends simply labeled this as the lag. So what I'm trying to build by this is that over time I got jealous of them by how fast they improved, so naturally, as an average chubby long-haired 12-year-old, I started to find ways to have an advantage over them. And I used to call this the moral equality. Because they didn't have this case, right, where their device lags and puts all over the place. So I somehow followed the narrative of this whole thing and used that as a justification somehow. It doesn't make sense to me now, but yeah, whatever. It was me being a kid. So the first alleged victims in my mind were them, or so I thought. One day they come down to my house and I've literally completed every main levels in about a week of playing. They also spotted that during playing levels I was phasing through spikes and obstacles, and I explained this as, hey, when you beat the whole like top levels, the developer added this little secret where you get invincibility. Like, what was I cooking back then, bro? I was on some different shit. While they were suspicious of me, of course, as friends, they didn't expect me to lie straight off the bat, so they gave me the benefit of the doubt. And I gave them this wrong example and motivation to start grinding hard with beating all the main levels, and halfway through, like, all of them abandoned the game, they all quit. And I was the only one remaining. You could clearly see that I had further intentions to go with my master plan to fool the universe with speed hacking clutterfunk, no clipping all the GD World main levels, even outright stealing people's Sub-Zero footages claiming it was mine and getting away with it. Just to get caught a couple of years later by a group of pixels. After some time, during late 2018, my mother gifted me a phone which was like realms better than my current device at the time in terms of performance and also obviously portability. Stuffing a tablet in my pants, well, you can understand how that'd be. So this is the Samsung Galaxy G2 era. Welcome to the era of auto 9-circle slows, where my plan to fool people this time around was actually scarily clever, and I was even second-guessing people who were locked in and convinced of my legitimacy down the road. So the first level that was the catalyst of all of this is fairy dust. So by the time, I was already slowly starting to progress through the game as a legitimate player, hence how I was able to do the beginning parts in fairy dust and many other 9-circle levels that I played back then. Because it's no easy task to be able to do those parts as a beginner. Let me just say that straight off the bat. They require some sort of skill at least. Like in my head, you have to be at least capable of beating an easy demon to be able to do that fairly easily. So during this time, I had the support of Jacob Firestone, also known now as Elias. Short addition here about people assuming that I have the name Firestone because of him. First of all, it's not Firestone, it's Firestone, and secondly, my actual last name is Firestone, it's just translated in English. So back on tracks now, this was the dawn of my ego and my need of attention since I fooled poor Elias and made him comment on the video, which back in the day was like huge. Because at the time he was like one of the most known figures in the community, and getting someone like him to do that isn't something to have crossed out every day, to say the least. Now we're diving headfirst into the second level, right after this instance. And this level in question is the Realistic by Softable. So let me tell you something, my efforts almost went down the drain since I let a little mistake slide in the uploaded video, which I'll let you be the judge of how that makes anybody seem. I don't know how the fuck I got out of this alive, but I managed to convince people that this was some sort of hitbox glitch, even though nowadays we can figure that out in a snap. But display hitbox feature wasn't even a concept back then, or at least even a fraction of a % common to see. So I got out of my arrest warrant, basically by saying the murder victim killed themselves. So as you'd expect naturally, I took my time to cool off, and for a while I didn't complete anything. Little did the world know I was about to cook one of the most vile and unorthodox methods of hacking all time. During my time off, I discovered something called the GD Toolbox, if I remember correctly. I don't necessarily recall the name of this application. Like, I don't know from where or how I got it or found it. I couldn't find it now to show it to you, but it was basically like the old Mega Hack, but for mobile. And this thing wasn't known at all, by the way. When I downloaded it, on the page, I remember this one thing that I remember clearly. It said 13 downloads. Like, that just puts into perspective of how confusing what I later explained would seem like. The method I concocted at the time, because of all of this being basically infeasible to a naked eye, it was considered absolutely unhinged. So I found out when you tick on edit online level feature, right, and interact with the level. For example, in my case, placing blue pads and gravity portals all over the place and making them invisible, and then saving the game, taking the hack off, and going back in the game again, you'd see that the edit level or whatever button is no longer there when you play the level and pause it. But the alterings still remain, so my cringe smile and rubbing heads together were thriving at the time. And August of 2018, I returned and started streaming while playing levels in hopes for clearing my name and the allegations. And since streaming is concrete evidence, or at least it used to be, I was more likely to do that. So I returned and beat Poltergeist on stream using this method, and by the time, that would be my hardest achievement, as funny as it seems today, man. Like, if I got caught right then and there, just imagine how people would be like, bro came up with a ridiculous complex strategy only to hack Poltergeist. So, of course, I didn't waste my efforts again, and without hesitation, I straight up jumped to and went for down bass. Yeah, never let them know your next move, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, in addition to all of this behind the scenes, I actually managed to beat Windy Landscape on a very laggy laptop, which was given to my cousin. What the fuck do you want, man? Look at this stupid dumbass, bro. Just meowed. Okay, you can go. So, at the time, yeah, I basically beat Windy Landscape as a hardest. So, on a laptop which was given to my cousin by his school, which is detailed to note since it's important later. So now back to down bass. I went to my Discord server, told my audience about hopes and dreams for me beating this level since it's like extreme demon. I have not fucking beaten anything like it for the audience. So it was a milestone in a way. Pretentious milestone. And they were so supportive, man. I was actually feeling more held back than initially with continuing to deceive these people, but unfortunately my ego won again and I booted up the stream. Was the time I started playing down bass on stream, progressing through like the first 30 to 35% and having an influence over the people watching me. So, right on the spot, spontaneously, I had a devious idea come up in my mind. Have you ever wondered about what the odds of doing something much sooner is? If it's more likely that it would take you thousands and thousands more attempts to do on average? I know that's kind of like a brain fart sentence, but try to understand it. Yeah, I thought my dumbass fluking down bass would be talked about as one of those astronomical all-stars aligning once in a green moon whole instance, gracing me with the potential of the greatest luck there is. So I did it. And I falsely reacted because sometimes I'm good at that, and because I wanted this idea to seem legit, right? Something Space UK fumbled on, unfortunately for him. So I got a huge wave of shock from people watching me. I got people who I never talked to come to me in DMs congratulating me. One day I would be invited to a Discord server named Mobile Squad, where a community of mobile players and contents regarding that factor take place, right? Where I would meet tons of people congratulating me also, some doubting if I am legit. Even the legit players get that picture painted in others' minds. Come on, like, when they beat something ridiculous, right? So, I thought what I did was working to some extent, right? Well, not when a person named Cooper Super 8 has an eye on you. Before I say anything else, shoutouts to my man Cooper. I don't know if he needs it. Maybe I'm the one in need of a shoutout from him at this point in both of our YouTube careers. But all jokes aside, he is an individual not worth neglecting to admire. He has supported me on this whole journey from beginning to the end, and I will not forget that, along with many other things he's done to my GD career as well. So, Cooper over here would be the one to catch my whims as off and get overly suspicious. He called me out in front of everyone, and then when I continued to deny what he was accusing me of, I was kicked from Mobile Squad. Bro, this guy, I swear to God, what the fuck do you want? Maxwell's gonna be joining us for the rest of the commentating. So just who have thought that the same person I'm talking about right now would be actually friends with me and supporting me all these years into the future? So during this time, I'm also not going to forget about how I felt. In retrospect, from all of what I've done, I felt absolutely horrible, and I didn't plan to continue further. But I was scared to death about confessing on my own for some fucking reason. I don't know if I remember the reason behind why, but I was daunted by it, and I was determined that the only way I would not feel scared was if somebody else exposes me. So when Cooper started to investigate me, I had no plans for me to get myself involved into this situation willingly, but it just all seemed to come out of nowhere, and I saw this as a win because it all just felt like a fucking boulder on my shoulders, and I wanted to get it off. Sure, sometimes you can have fun doing the wrong things, but sooner or later the guilt is going to catch up to you and break you in a way that you end up tying yourself into situations that you cannot unfold from. So this was the perfect opportunity to disseminate the situation to people and get this boulder off my shoulders that I could not handle to throw it down myself without an assistance. So Cooper was the guy who, all memes aside, genuinely helped me and put me on the tracks I am in now. And I couldn't thank you more, man. I hope you are watching this live because salutes to you. Now, in change of mood of all of this, and to note out a couple more funny details, let's start from how hard I was trying to act on with him in DMs to tension his suspicion more. Like, I didn't even fake a hardest demon for him to gauge the jump gap to down base with. Like, I said windy landscape, which was the only fucking level I ever beat legitimately out of everything I've associated myself with so far. So he got extra suspicious by, per se, an extreme demon that is tremendously hard on mobile, and plus nobody has beaten it, neither on mobile or any 60Hz device at the time, and I was claiming that I did. I was claiming that I did it in only 3,000 attempts. In the meantime, he was working on an exposing video, and you're expecting for him to write this highly intelligent, convincing script that really just puts my case into perspective and marks me out as a fraud that I am, right? But no. Allow me to introduce to you what really got me exposed. If this is not a meme material, everybody, then I don't know what is at this point. Either way, shortly after that I confessed, and because now that people already know what I did, it was somehow easier to do what I was afraid of doing. Honestly, if anybody can explain what this pattern of behavior from me is, I'd gladly listen, because even I don't understand why I was so afraid to just pull off Xander and just say, I hacked, lol, goodbye. But yeah, I was definitely a character back then. However, things have taken a direction for the best, you know? And right now, at this very point in my career, and me talking about this to all of the new people and the people I once deceived, allow me to say this once again. I am sorry. And this is my redemption arc for you, for myself. To say this as a teaser, expect more things to come in the future. I am working on some stuff. It goes without saying that I appreciate all of you, whether if it's the new people who have no idea what just happened or what all of this means to me and are curious to hop on the train to figure out what it is, or if it's the OGs supporting me and cheering me as I live through this very moment of my career, which is just a monumental milestone and quite possibly the conclusion in terms of me completing anything harder on mobile. And, well, kids, this is the proof. Kids and adults too watching this, probably, I don't know. This is the proof of what something so small, such as a video game, can do to a person's life, and the way people can go through metamorphosis and change for the better by it, and for people to support each other, people to build relationships, to people to build like rapport and connections, sometimes even like close relationships. I've known a couple of people who have built close relationships from a video game or a social media platform. It's not impossible, neither is it any wrong. I just don't get why some people take it as weird, which is like a huge stereotype that I'm not going to go into details to cover. Anyways, sorry that I kept you waiting all this time, and now let's hop into the completion video, and I hope you have fun watching. Peace.
If you wanna get with me, there's some things you gotta know. I like my beats fast and my bass down low. Bass down low. Bass down low. I like my beats fast and my bass down low. Come on!
What the fuck? What the fuck? Holy shit! What the fuck? What?